our special show, Second Wave Superheroes. Yes, this is a series which highlights and recognizes individuals and organizations who've stepped up to help people in this very tough time as India continues to reel under the devastating second COVID pandemic wave. Our first guest today is Ayushi Mishra Vikram, founder of Sayam Karangal in Chennai, who along with a team of volunteers has provided food, water and COVID essential items to those in need. Listen in to Ayushi Mishra Vikram.
Vikram is the founder of the NGO Sayam Karangal in Chennai. Sayam Karangal is an NGO run by a young group of friends. Vikram and his volunteer friends set out every day to provide food, water and COVID essential kits to those in need. They are also expanding to collect funds to help COVID patients who are in need of medicine and oxygen. NewsX proudly recognizes second wave superhero Vikram.
Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX. I'm Aarti Krishnan. On today's episode of Second Wave Superheroes, I have with me Vikram from Chennai, who's the founder of Sayam Karangal. So they provide free food for essential workers, they source funds for those in need of medication, and they also help in sourcing empty oxygen cylinders and such. Let's hear from him. Vikram, take us through what you do, your work, and the service that you do.
Hi everyone. So what we do is we have been on the field since the second wave of Corona, and we have been giving people free food for the past 15 days, and we have identified 50 to 60 people who are homeless and who are sanitary workers, frontline workers, and we have been providing them food, safety kits, water bottles every day, every single day, and we have set up stations in two particular areas in our locality. And those stations, what we do is we fill them with water and refreshments. So anyone can come take whatever they want. Anyone can refill if they want. Anyone can donate it over there. So it is just for the people. It's just for the sanitary workers, mainly frontline workers and the people who are delivering food. So this is all we did as of now. And what we have planned to do is now we are sourcing in oxygen cylinders, and we're going to give them for free. And for people who are in need. And at the same time, we have started procuring ration kits, and we have started identifying families who are in need of ration kits. And that is what we are doing as of now. And we have planned much more things.
Right. So take us through a day in when you're doing your service. How does your day start, and what do you start off doing?
So we start off with getting food from the hotels, and we take in food, water bottles, safety kits, biscuit packets, and everything. We start off from our place. We go fill in our stations. We go give it to the sanitary workers. We ask them to come, and we give the food for them. And then we go around our locality. And what we see is due to this unbearable heat, people have started to faint while they are doing the service. And I have seen officers fainting without water. I have seen sanitary workers fainting without water. So it is better to give food and water to the frontline workers. See, one thing what we as a human can do is keep water and food for the frontline workers. That is what we request. See, if all of us are going to contribute to the society by giving water or food, if you're keeping it outside your house, we don't have to come out every single day and give people water or food. So that is what we have seen every single day. That is what we feel. That is what we get responses from the people. Every day, people come and ask us water, food, and that is it. That's it.
So Vikram, also tell us about the funds that you require and how you collect those funds. Do you take donations?
Okay. So Sayam Karangal is basically a set of friends, and we have been together really since early age. And what we decided to do is we decided to give back to this community. So what we do is we collect funds from our friends and our students who are studying now, who are working abroad. And we have people who are working abroad. So basically what we do is, since I'm on the field, they talk to them, they tell them our friend is on the field. That is how we get the funds. And we what we do is all transparent. We show them everything, what we do with the bills, everything in our page. So that is how, since we are doing this from the first pandemic, a lot of people believe us, and that is how we get funds. And we are doing how much ever is possible with the funds we get. So if at all we are going to get so much more funds, we have a lot of plans to do, and we have people who are already on the field. We have know a lot of people who are already working, and we are there to join with them and do much
Right.
more.
Have you also
Possible.
helped families with funds for buying medications, and have you helped them with oxygen cylinders as well?
As of now, we didn't start that with that, but we have planned how to do that. So we have certain friends who are working in the hospitals, and what we told them was find out the families which are in need of money for the medications. If you can find them and let us know, we'll definitely be there for them to give the money. So that is one. Another one is we have planned to get the oxygen cylinders. Since the demand is high over here, and we didn't want to hoard stuff, we just want to get it and use it properly. That is why we are still looking out for cylinders. If anyone is coming to help, coming forward to help us with the cylinders, we'll definitely give it to the people who are in need of it. And we have arranged everything. We have transport to go give it to the people, and we have everything for that. We're just finding out cylinders. That's it.
Okay. So Vikram, what would be your appeal to the public, to the people watching this interview?
So one thing is wear your mask, be safe, just don't come out if it is not necessary. And if you want to contribute to the society, give food, masks, water, keep it outside the house, let the people come and take it. See, a lot of people are working without water, without food. And one thing we can help is we can give them food and water. That is what I saw. I never went to the other side of it. See, I don't know how things are in the medical side of it. In this side, we have been working. And what I want people to do is keep water and food outside the house, because a lot of people are fainting. And if you go out for one day, you will know how people are suffering from heat. And this is the only way we can help the society. Maybe we can keep water, food, mainly masks. Mask is necessary. A lot of people who are homeless sitting outside our houses don't wear masks. They get in contact with a lot of people, and when they get affected, they are not even cared about. And this is how we can change the society. First, we'll take care of our locality, and then we can move on to the society. That is how we are planning to do.
Right. Thank you so much for your service, Vikram. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Our next guest is Dr. Yuva Ravindran. He's been extensively working in COVID ward in ICU. In fact, she is helping around 300 COVID patients every day. Listen.
Dr. Yuva Ravindran is extensively working in the COVID ward and ICU in Meenakshi Mission, Madurai. She's a part of the Vimochana NGO IMA, who have provided services for around 300 COVID patients every day. She works towards creating awareness regarding mental health, vaccination, and COVID care. NewsX proudly recognizes second wave superhero Dr. Yuva Ravindran.
Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX's Second Wave Superheroes. Today I have with me Dr. Yuva. She's a medical officer from Madurai Meenakshi Medical Hospital. Thank you, Yuva, for joining us. We are glad to have you on the show.
Hi, thank you.
So tell us something about yourself, Yuva. So what are you doing right now, and what kind of free consultation services are you offering to patients?
Okay, hi, I am Yuva Ravindran from Madurai. I am working in Meenakshi Mission right now. So I am doing COVID ward duty as well. Like I'm working in Meenakshi Mission in the COVID duty. And with that, I'm doing free teleconsultations for COVID positive people. So for teleconsultation, I'm consulting them through Instagram, through my direct number, and also via 2 helplines. And I'm also trying to create awareness about, and to clarify queries and to create awareness about vaccines in Instagram.
That's great. So there's a panic among patients, right? So how do you handle it? People frantically call you and be like, what do I do? How do I do this? Is this fine and stuff? So how do you handle that panic among patients?
Okay. So this pandemic, this was completely unexpected. And none of us like it. Yeah. So in this, both physical health and mental health are being affected. It's like equally affected. So even if one patient is positive, the patient as well as the attenders, like the family members, the relatives, all of them are so much worried about it. So I would say, in this, I am happy that I'm able to be a part of the helping team and I'm able to help them. And what we are doing is we are giving them proper medical information and guidance on what they must do through these free teleconsultations. Also in the hospitals also, I would say that the physical health is being it is affected to a great extent, but the confidence level and the panic levels, the panic level is very high and the confidence levels are getting very low. People tend to get scared very easily. So I would say, please try to remain calm. Yeah, it is very natural to be scared in such a situation, but try to remain calm. And if you think you need help, or if you think it's really panicky or it's really scary, talk to someone. Talk to someone who can give you the proper medical guidance or the proper correct advice. Also, because there's a lot of false information going on as well. That is also a concern right now.
So as a doctor, I'm pretty sure you would have got calls like, I read this somewhere, I read that somewhere. So sometimes people tend to overread these things in social media and get afraid also. So how do you, what advice would you give to these people to how do they manage this?
Okay, that is actually rising these days. See, this is a pandemic and I know it is very scary and all of us are scared. So if you think you need some information about something, please refer to medical practitioners, or you think the ones who are really reliable. Please do not trust or overthink or overindulge yourself in all this information, and do not pass false information. I know it is scary, but we can only combat this virus together. Only doctors, we cannot do anything as a team alone. You have to cooperate with this. And everyone, if there's a lockdown, you have to follow the lockdown. And if you are to be vaccinated, you should get the vaccine. So please follow what rules are being imposed on, and also feel free to contact doctors or medical practitioners if you have any doubts. And please don't forward or overindulge yourself or consume a lot of time reading all this information. You must be aware of things, but please don't stress yourselves.
So how do patients, how can they reach you for these teleconsultation services? I'm sure it would be helpful, and someone from Tamil Nadu would be like, I want someone to advise me about certain stuff, but I just don't know who to approach. So how do patients approach you right now?
Okay, so to approach me directly, you can approach me through Instagram, or I'll share my WhatsApp number. You can approach to these two lines. Other than that, I'm also a part of 2 helplines. So we have we have 2 numbers for that also. I'll be sharing them with you. You can approach us through any of it.
So right now, from what I understand, Tamil Nadu's cases are still rising. 30,000, 35,000 cases are being reported every day. What do you think Tamil Nadu should do more to control this spike?
Okay, so like I said, this must be a combined approach. It must be a multidisciplinary approach. Only doctors or only the government, only the people, they cannot do it. It must be, a team effort. So to the people, I would say, please stay home, please stay safe. The virus is, the pandemic is still going on. So if you don't want a 3rd lockdown, please stay home. And point number 2, please get vaccinated. There are a lot of information that's been, both false and true information that's been going on. You please consult medical professional if you have any doubts. The vaccines are safe. Please take them. So move out only if it is extremely essential. And for doctors and the government, I think they already have their protocols. So we just have to follow them.
So right now, from what I understand, 5th-year medical students are also being put into the task force. And obviously, they have that fear factor. They are trained for this. But suddenly, if you're thrown into a pandemic-like situation, you panic. So what kind of advice would you give to those students?
Okay, for that, I would say, like I said already, this was a completely unexpected, unprecedented situation. But I would say be happy and proud that you're being a part of the task force, because you see, we are all doctors and not all of them get the opportunity. Pandemic is highly unexpected and it happens once in a era. It's like that. So you are a medical professional and you are being privileged to, you have the ability, the equipment and the knowledge to help other people in times of crisis. The whole world and the whole nation is facing a crisis. So I would say that we should be proud of ourselves and be happy that we are able to serve people in times of need. Like, we don't know when the next pandemic, we really don't want it, but we never know when the next pandemic will come. So if you are a doctor in times of need, like, you're the main thing, like the key point here. So you should be proud of yourselves and be happy. And I know it is scary, but you see, once you see patients recovering, that gives you satisfaction. So wear your PPE, protect yourselves, but also be happy that you're part of the task force.
So one last question to you. What would your one last advice be? Like, I want to convey something through this. So what is that thing you want to do right now?
So like I said previously, for doctors and medical professionals, I would say, please take care of your health, your physical health and mental health as well. Please take a break if you think it is, it is like going over your head or if it's overwhelming. And for the people and the public, two things. First, please stay home, stay safe. The second thing, please get vaccinated, because vaccine is the only solution. And also, I would say, third thing, that is also an important thing. Even if you have any mild symptoms, like, a mild fever I had only for 1 day. I just had running nose for 2 days. And I think that is because of dust allergy or because I went out in the rain. You see, that is all. I know it is scary and it is difficult to accept, or, it might be, you might be apprehensive about getting tested, but please get tested and please isolate yourselves as soon as you get the symptom. Like, the first day of symptoms itself, you should isolate yourselves and seek medical advice. Because because I'm in the hospital and in the COVID duty, I can see patients who come to the hospital maybe after 10 or 12 days after their symptoms have started. They try to manage it themselves. They want to, get fine at home. But by the 10th or 12th day, even if we want to help them, we're not able to do it. So seek medical attention as soon as possible. So these are the three things that I would say to the public.
Thank you, Yuva. Thank you for joining us today. You've been doing great work. Please continue doing that. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And our final guest for the day today is Anupama Khanna, who started Uttarakhand COVID Help Desk on Facebook and also created a common consolidated platform for COVID needs. Our team has distributed free food, ration, as well as medicines to COVID patients.
Anupama Khanna is the founder of Uttarakhand Corona Help. It's a Facebook group and is created in public interest to connect people and act as a common consolidated platform of coronavirus services in Uttarakhand. They offer COVID-related help in any way possible by having a bigger network and greater social media presence. They have distributed basic necessities like free food, ration and medicines to COVID patients. NewsX proudly recognizes second wave superhero Anupama Khanna.
Hello and welcome. You are watching NewsX. Today on the second wave of superheroes, I have with me Anupama Khanna, and she is a special correspondent with the Pioneer newspaper. She is also the founder of Uttarakhand Corona Help. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome on the show.
Thank you so much, Fiza. It's my honor.
Thank you. And so the first question to you is like, what motivated you to start the Uttarakhand Corona Help?
Okay, so to tell you very precisely, Fiza, around 1 month ago, there was an unprecedented spike in the number of COVID cases in Uttarakhand, in Dehradun specifically, and it was becoming into a nightmare. So very early on, I realized that the scale of the pandemic was so huge that it was very essential for citizens in their individual capacity to come together and try to help each other instead of just a few NGOs or just the government. So with this in mind, I started a Facebook group called Uttarakhand Corona Help. The purpose was very straightforward. Anybody who needs any help related to COVID could simply post a message and ask for help. And the rest of the community, people like you and me from different backgrounds, we would do everything possible to help this person. The spirit behind it being as if it was somebody from our very own family who wanted this help. So like I've been saying, the philosophy behind the group and also the motivation is that we are all together in this.
Yes, and how has it been going so far? Like, how has literally Corona Help been going in Uttarakhand?
So the response from people has been phenomenal, truly speaking. In terms of strength, we were already about 2,000 members with a lot of other visitors in the first 2 weeks itself, and it's growing. And also important is that you don't need to become a member to post any message for help. So anybody, you can just visit and you can mark a help SOS. And another very interesting thing is that the quality of engagement from all group members, it is absolutely fantastic. So if I were to put it in a line, Uttarakhand Corona Healthcare has become the go-to platform for anybody wanting help. It's really amazing from people here.
Indeed, that's awesome. So how has it what sort of people have probably asked for or come forward for helping the others? Like, is it like you volunteered, or like people have automatically come to you and said that, yeah, they want to help?
Okay, so I'll take a minute or two to elaborate on this question because it's very relevant. See, in terms of numbers, in the last 4 weeks, we have helped about 1,000 COVID-affected patients and families directly. When I say directly, what that means is SOS calls from people who needed oxygen cylinders, even in the middle of the night, who needed plasma, who needed hospital beds, ICU beds, ventilator beds, right, medicines and all of that. So that's 1,000 directly. Other than that, we have also been providing water bottles and food for patients and attendants in the government hospitals in Dehradun, because we knew there was a gap there. Other than that, we also, through donation from group members, we bought about 15 oxygen cylinders. And for the last 1 month, we have been circulating them absolutely free of cost to needy patients to provide them emergency oxygen support. And overall, the number of beneficiaries has been around 6,000. Now, coming to how this happened, it's very simple. Initially, the day I created the group, I invited about, let's say, 100 people in my circle to join it. And after that, the group membership has grown completely organically. And now we are like one extended family. And what happens is whenever there is any message on the group, the other group members automatically start working on it as per their voluntary help and availability. And we verify leads. An important part is we just don't give 50 numbers to a family in need because you're just increasing their agony then. So we have verified leads and we try to connect these families to service providers, whatever it is, right? And people who are the members, it's people like you and me from completely different backgrounds. I would say citizens of Uttarakhand, right? Another very important aspect, Fiza, is we have a lot of members who are expats. Basically, people who are settled in, we have members from Europe, America, and Middle East, and Asia, other countries as well. They have their families back in Dehradun. For most of them, their parents, elderly senior citizens are back in Dehradun, and these people are settled outside, right? So a lot of those people have also come to us for help. And it's a huge support for everyone because there's a sense of having this huge community going out for each other. And we've been doing it 24/7. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, like, how has it been for you? Like, has it mentally, physically, and like for you and for the group members that you're working with?
Yeah. So, Fiza, one, I would very strongly say that while I talk to you here, I'm actually representing every group member. That's extremely important. And so whatever I say, I am sure that I echo the sentiments of everyone else as well. For us, in terms of the number of hours we've been putting in or the effort, yes, it's been extremely demanding. I mean, for the last 1 month, practically we were working 24/7, right? So physically, yes, demanding, but the very gratification and the satisfaction that we are able to help somebody who really, really needs it right now is a joy far greater than any. And that has been the stress buster for all of us. So that's how it's been happening. And yeah, at times, it would happen that the patient who was looking for something passed away maybe a few days later. So that's very saddening. But then for every such life, there are hundreds of others that we've been able to save. And that's what keeps us going.
That's awesome. So like, if you started this organization and like people are helping, people are getting help, so like what sort of feeling is it for you in the end?
Okay, so I have always believed as an individual, and I really mean what I say, but I've always believed that we all are here for a limited number of years, and how much meaning you add to your life matters a lot more than any other materialistic success.
So this feeling that we've been, and another thing, I feel that in the COVID pandemic, in the second wave, the way it has hit people, there are clearly two categories. One who've been totally affected by it directly, and the others are the more fortunate ones who till now have not been affected, which means that, okay, their families are safe, immediate families, right? So I truly feel that for us as a society and for us as human beings, it is our fundamental duty to help if we have not been affected so far, right? So at the end of the day, I would say that it is absolutely the deepest level of happiness that we've been able to help others. And I always say when we help somebody else, we are not doing a favor on that person, because ultimately the reward you get in the sense of gratification supersedes everything else. So it's been a very satisfying experience, I would say.
Indeed. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us on the show. And it's been amazing to talk to you, and the commendable work that you've been doing and helping the citizens, not only of Uttarakhand, but the citizens of India. And it's really a great deal providing them things, and saving even a single life gets you a lot of blessings from that person. And thank you so much.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.